Hey everybody, you are all very welcome to another Revenue Hacks show with myself, Khristina Quigley. I'm so excited to be back here today. We are done in association with Revpar, but we are also powered by the wonderful Rate Gain company. We are associated with BCV. We have Stuart here with us today in studio, and we've got a fantastic show ahead of us. Before we kick off, I do want to remind everybody that we are giving away 3 tickets to Leadership in Chaos. These are online tickets to 3 lucky winners today in association with Revenue by Design, which is happening in early October. So we are so excited about that. So the best questions will get the tickets today. And also we have a type form that we would love to get your feedback. We're actually working on correlating all new shows. We're working with all new partners, and we definitely want to have your feedback. What is it that matters to you when it comes to revenue hacks? What are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? Please be honest with us. We don't care whether you like the Hulk background or you want Calvin to change up his earphones. Let us know. But I definitely want to change my background to what Stuart has. So let's kick off today's show because we have an amazing show ahead of us. We are talking about Snapchat, TikTok, all social media, and this is so cool because I'm so delighted to be joined with 2 most amazing guys in the industry when it comes to this. Stuart Booth, as I mentioned, works in BCV. So Stuart, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm Stuart Booth. So I'm the Director of Sales for the UK and Ireland for BCV. And in a nutshell, what we do is we're the leading provider of very much tech-enabled social media solutions for the luxury hotel industry. So everything from account management and strategy to creative to monitoring to reporting, we handle everything on behalf of the hotel.
And I love that because we did say on this backstage, we have a lot of issues with hotels across Europe, across the world with social media, and having proper tools, powerhouses, and some sort of industry experts to actually help them will always help and actually increase their engagement 100%. If you haven't seen what Stuart's system does or BCB actually can do for you, please reach out to them. And if you're interested in seeing what Rate Gain can do for you, please feel free to reach out to Stuart today. He will put you in contact with the right people like Mark Haywood, who's more than happy to give conversations with people. Just name drop Mark just so that you don't take all the slack. Next, we have the amazing Bruce Jordan, who is coming live to us from Texas. Bruce, good morning. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm Bruce Jordan. I'm the host of Hotel Management Do's and Don'ts, one of the greatest hotel competitions in the world. I'm also the managing partner of Hotel Guest Management, where we manage hotels and turn around failing properties. So,
thank you so much, Bruce, and it's great to see you with a proper mic. If you haven't realized, Bruce actually ran downstairs to rob the mic for today. No, he didn't, but I'm just saying. Next up, we have another social media guru, Calvin Tilokee.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Calvin Tilokee. You may know me as Revpar on Instagram, and I have turned that into a social media management agency for hotels, Revpar Media, to show hotels how I have built a following and engaged following on Instagram and other social media channels.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, Thibault.
Can you hear me? I'm not sure if you can.
Yes, you can.
Perfect. All right. Hi guys, so my name is, we had some issue in the back and always a great timing, So my name is Thibault. I'm the founder and managing director of Catala Consulting, a revenue management company that look after hotels in Europe. And yeah, happy to talk about social media and how we can drive revenue, which is something that's very important.
Thank you so much, Thibault. And it is a very exciting conversation. We've spoke about social media so many times on Revenue Hacks, and it just seems to be becoming a lot more diverse. There's so many new channels opening, and there's just so many new challenges for hotels right now. So let's talk about correlating a social media strategy. What is it that the hotels need to do to be very honest with themselves, first of all, about their social media activity, whether it's good, bad, or the ugly? And also, what can they do right now to improve either on paper or virtually their structure?
Well, the first thing.
Sorry, go on, Calvin.
Yeah.
Oh, who's Calvin? It's Bruce.
Yeah. It was me.
My glasses on.
We look alike. It's okay. The first.
Especially with the headphones and everything. I'll hold this. We're really confusing.
Well, the first thing they can do is they have to really focus on getting the content. I think Bill Gates said it best. Content is king, and if content is king, then like about 90% of the hotels out there are peasants because we're just not putting up enough content to get the attention that we need. You have people out there that are posting 5-6 times a day, but when it comes to hotels, we're lucky we post 2-3 times a week. So that's one thing. The other thing is the how powerful the content is. I seen one hotel posting the same room over and over again for about 3-4 days, the same picture. Just said like, oh, well, we don't have no more pictures, so we're just gonna keep posting the same one. It's as simple as getting your cell phone out and just taking a couple of pictures of the scenery, different angles, but they feel like they don't have the time, and that's how they get beat every time. So
yeah, and in order for you to develop good content, you got to have this strategy, and that's where my revenue management background comes into play when I deal with my clients. Is if you're trying to sell something, you're trying to market something, promote something, you need to know who you're promoting that to, right? So if your hotel is in a resort type of area, maybe there's activities around surfing, hiking, whatever, you want to build your content around that, right? It wouldn't make sense to start promoting things like I don't know, tours, right? If most of your guests are coming in there to go surfing and go to the beach, you probably wouldn't want to promote. You'd want to promote that heavily. So knowing that first then allows you to build the content around that, and that's what's going to increase your engagement, because the people that are coming to your hotel are interested in what you're putting out there, so naturally they'll be engaged and interested in it.
Stuart.
Yeah, well, yeah, both really, really good points. But and something else to add on the end of that is that don't put all your eggs in one basket either. Know the various platforms and know the kind of the guest split behind them. So, on average, people have got 4 different social media platforms at any one time. So if you're throwing all your eggs in the Facebook basket, you're going to miss out a very large section of your audience. So you need to kind of spread that base across all of them, as opposed to just thinking, as we were talking about backstage, one guy who has one Facebook account puts one photo up a week. It's not going to work. You need to kind of come from all angles all the time.
So let's talk about formulating a strategy before go on, Thibault, actually, before I go on.
Because I disagree with this, because I'm a big fan of the Pareto principle. When you focus on the 20% of the channels which drive 80% of the revenue, there are so many social media around here, so many channels that we can actually get lost and lose focus on social media or activities that actually don't drive good ROI. So for me, I'm more in the principle of focusing on the 20% channels that have been proven to deliver to drive revenue, for example. But focus on this one, do some small experimentation with TikTok, with Snapchat, with whatever you want. See what is working for you and see what is not working. But focus on a limited number of channels that have been proven to work for you, and then focus on this one through that. So diversification, yes, but not too much from that.
But that's when we get into the kind of the argument about the Snapchat and the TikTok and that kind of thing. So, because we refer to those as supplemental channels at the moment. That might change in the future, but at the moment they're supplemental. So when I say kind of spread yourself far and wide, I mean, you really have to make sure you're on the big 3, or at least 2 of the big 3 in Facebook and Instagram. What people are very, very guilty of still is the fact that they think one or the other is suitable. And, different age ranges, different kind of demographics, all this sort of stuff. The age range of Facebook went up considerably over the last year because of the lockdown. So now that kind of gives hotels another audience on Facebook to go after. So, yeah, totally agree with what you're saying, but definitely, you need to be across at least 2 of the big 3.
So let me ask this question, because you are mentioning that we need to be across at least 2 or 3. Is it wise to post the same content that's on Instagram onto Facebook? Because we all know you can do it vice versa. So what do you guys recommend, especially, if you're trying to tap into, as you said, your different demographics, different age types, different likes? What do you guys recommend when it comes to this? Because I would think that if you post the same thing on Instagram and on Facebook, even if you're using auto post, it kind of runs stale, because people may not have Facebook, but may use the Facebook link and see it as well on Instagram. And it's like, I've just seen that 10 seconds ago. Because let's be honest, we go in, we scroll, we close, we go into another one, we scroll, we close.
I kind of feel like to Stuart's point, you're going to have it's a different audience, right? Facebook is an older demographic now to Instagram. So I don't think that's a problem, especially because I'm looking at Daniela's comment here in the chat. If you're starting out and you want to be on Facebook and Instagram, I don't think posting the same thing on both channels is an issue, depending on the actual content. So if you're going to be on Instagram and you want to do, one of those fun, cool reels, that may not play as well on Facebook, right? With that audience. However, if you're doing things that are about your hotel, the content about your lobby, your rooms, what's in the area, I would put those on both, especially if you're starting out and you just want to kind of get in the groove and be consistent. I would do that. But be careful as you start to get into the things that are a bit more unique to those channels. Something like Reels is unique to Instagram or a TikTok. You probably wouldn't want to put that on Facebook.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said there for UGC as well. For user generated content, because you can, as you said, there's no problem with posting the same content, especially if you're starting out on both platforms. But what you can do to really kind of make a difference between the two, if you're sort of stuck for content to a certain degree, is you can really start investing in that UGC. And when I say investing, I mean just making sure you get the permission of the person who took the photo. But really start using that lifestyle imagery that people are taking in your hotel or people are taking in the surrounding area, because that will help you to kind of chop that mirrored content up a little bit.
Some content that I tend to post on both platforms is usually like things to do and events, because I'm trying to optimize for search. When someone's talking about a concert, I want my hotel to come up first. When someone's talking about things to do in the area, I want my hotel to come up first. So I want to post that in as many different platforms as I can. So I'm at the top, or I'm at least at the top 5 when it comes to search.
I will go even one step further and start by thinking about your customer experience in a way that even when you do the renovation and when you do an hotel, start thinking about those kind of Instagrammable, that's very hard to say, products and features when you build the hotel and the different experience that you can have. And I believe the marketing and the user-generated content will solve itself. So in a way that presents nicely the food in the plate, make sure people can take picture of it, or present nicely the backdrop and everything on the bed to make it nice and making sure people share those content. So think about what the guest wants to take as a picture. And I'm the first one. I'm quite guilty because I've seen some hotels experience and some nice tweak and views from the hotel on Instagram, and I just want to stay there. So it kind of influences as well your decision process. Then you become a bit disappointed with the real experience, but from a customer perspective and what you see on Instagram, I'm quite sure it influences people around for sure.
Let's
chat. No, go on, Stuart.
I was just going to say that's that 4 or 5 Instagrammable points thing, isn't it? So they reckon that you should have 4 or 5 Instagrammable points in your hotel now. So be it, the massive wingback chair in the lobby, or the flower wall, or something like that gives people an excuse to basically promote you on their behalf, kind of thing.
That's exactly where I was going. So let's have a chat about Instagram, the do's and don'ts, because there is so many things that people do that they shouldn't be doing when it comes to Instagram and posting, and for hotels especially, trying to do reels is a great way of getting, followers and to appear in that, when you scroll over and you see what's happening page, I call it. It's probably not the right name for it, but it's a great way of being up there and being relevant. So what can hotels do right now to work on their Instagram in particular? Because that's where a lot of the people who have money, the generations who are now wanting to start traveling, are on scene.
Well, one of the first things they can do is they have to know where their customer is coming from and why they're coming there. This way they can use the right hashtags inside of their posts. I usually don't use local hashtags. I usually try to keep my hashtags where my customer is coming from. So if I'm in Orlando, I know I have customers coming from Miami. I know I have customers coming from Jacksonville and probably Tampa or Tallahassee. So those are the cities that I'm going to use in my hashtag so that I'm seen in those cities, so they can bring their butt over here and check in, man.
Yeah, no, that's a great point with the hashtags. Another thing to keep in mind is the size of the hashtags as well, right? So depending on the size of your account is the kind of hashtags you want to use. And that's part of the strategy that I implement when I onboard a new client is people think, hey, I'm going to put hashtag Miami or hashtag South Beach. Those have millions and millions of posts on there already, right? So your content's going to get lost. In something like that. And somebody here made a great point in the comments. This is all about connecting with your customer, connecting with your guest. So as I said before, first of all, you have to know who that guest is. That's most important. None of this is going to work if you don't know who you're trying to try to connect with. But once you do know that, just have fun with it. Don't overthink it. And I'm speaking from experience. I have about 4 different platforms of my own that I build personally. And when I first started doing reels, I'm seeing all these other people with their fun reels where they're like, taking off the shirt and they're in a different outfit. And I'm just like, I can't do that. Like it just looks so well produced. I'm like, this is ridiculous. But, I started doing just a few simple ones and they were doing well. So just do what you can, do something you can stick with, right? It's kind of like when you sign up for the gym. Like, don't say you're going to go every day and I'm doing 2 days every day this week, and then you end up doing it 3 times. You feel disappointed, but 3 times is good, right? So if that's what you can stick to, and you can stick to making 1 reel, 1 post, 1 marketing piece a week, start with that.
I love the way you say that, because we did actually have a question from Daniela, who actually runs a small business herself. And she did say, we can't keep up with all the social media channels and trends. So is sharing the same all over okay? Or should we really make time to produce different content for each of them?
I think it's okay. Again, we keep going back to the same point. Figure out who your customer is first, and that's going to tell you where you want to start, right? So if your age group is early 20s, early to mid 20s, maybe even mid 30s, you probably let's start with an Instagram page. Start with that. Start with something you can do consistently, and then expand to Facebook and some of the other platforms. But yeah, as we touched on before, I don't think that there's anything wrong with sharing some of the same content around all of the platforms. Just stay away from the things that are super unique to any individual platform.
Go on, Stuart.
Oh, well, that was. So yeah, no. What one thing also I'd say on that, just when we're talking about content, Calvin said earlier about really making a big thing of your area, and with Instagram, a massive kind of do is that try and become the king of your area. Hotels can be very, very guilty of posting what I call architectural content. So it's, here's our bar, here's the front of our building, here's our lobby. And it's not engaging. What people want with Instagram, it's a very experience-led, lifestyle-led platform. And they want to kind of be able to sort of think, right, well, okay, so this hotel is showing me that I can do this while I'm there. And that's a bit more immersive than hotels just showing their recycled website content, which happens quite a lot on Instagram. So, really make sure that you're using a lot of engaging content that really highlights the area that you're in as well, because it's a great way of sort of building an audience and getting engagement.
I just think that for a lot of people, it's quite difficult. It's really hard for some hotels to know what's right for them. And I think one of the really true to form points with hotels is what Bruce said. It's pictures. Pictures, no one has pictures. And we had this conversation backstage. No one actually has decent pictures of their properties right now, because some of the properties have gone through massive changes with COVID, be it that they've stripped out a lot of the items that have been in the bedroom, like cushions, throws, pillows. They've taken away kettles, they've taken away everything. You can put them back in, take pictures, again, using your phone, get proper collateral up there. Just having a stock imagery kind of file of 5 pictures isn't good enough now. It's just not good enough. Even if you're a 10-bedroom hotel in the middle of Ballygo backwards or in the middle of a large city, you should at least have decent stock pictures of your rooms, of your hotel, or even of the staff when they're working. Obviously, you need to get privacy signatures because of GDPR and everything, but you just need to be able to showcase that to your clients, that this is what our hotel looks like. This is the warm welcome that you're going to get. This is the bells and whistles that we're going to give you. We may be only a 2-star, but we still have a 4-star heart. And I think that's huge because you are telling a story. So let's talk about storytelling. Let's go into TikTok. What is the future of TikTok with hotels? Because I can tell you for sure, we are definitely never going to see a GM or a staff member dancing across the floor. So what do you guys think TikTok is to be used right now, or how can hotels leverage this in a way to boost their social media rankings on a lot of other platforms?
I mean, first of all, that's a shame. You just disappointed me. I'm not going to see GMs popping and locking across the lobby. I mean, what else is there to live for?
There was a couple of hotel reopening videos that came out where there was a few GMs, gliding across the entrance hallway. So, it's been done.
Yeah, no, I actually disagree with that. I mean, I think if you've got the right team, if you have a team that's fun and willing to do that, there's nothing wrong with doing that stuff. Again, it does it have to look like all these 19-year-old influencers out there that are I see here all the time in LA in the middle of the street trying to pop and lock while the lights changing. You don't got to do all that stuff, right? But again, figure out something that works for you. And TikTok is about more than just dances, right? I mean, you can do a lot of different things. It's obviously I shouldn't say obviously. Everyone may not know that Reels on Instagram obviously came out of TikTok. So you can do a lot of different things where, for example, you're checking somebody and it could be a video of your GSA holding up the picture, then they snap, and next thing you know, they're walking into the room. Right, and then you're showing the room. You snap. You see the view from the room or some of the public space. You can do stuff like that without ever having to be in front of the camera, right? So there's a lot of different ways to do that. And again, it just really comes down to who you are, who your team is, and who you're trying to approach with it. If your audience and your brand is really fun and funky like that, then there's nothing wrong with TikTok.
For me, I love TikTok for F&B. Like there's like whole cooking channels on TikTok. And I'm like, man, if I make this meal in under a minute, under 3 minutes. But yeah, like if you can get some great footage of your chef just cooking, or your bartender doing all the tricks and making the drinks, like you will rock on TikTok. That stuff takes off like that on TikTok. So.
That's a great point.
I saw one recently where they did a scavenger hunt in a hotel on TikTok. So basically, you could win a prize. So it's obviously achieved two things. One, it achieved engagement. Two, it achieved a tour of the hotel from a sales perspective. And three, somebody got a prize out of it. So, but it was a really clever idea. Yeah. And obviously now the other thing with TikTok, the next kind of trend that's happening with TikTok is they're going to debut this long form content, this up to 3-minute videos, and that's they're trying to sort of slide into the YouTube space as well. And it's funny actually. There's a big difference between TikTok in the UK and TikTok in the US. So I think it's well over was it 60 something? I can't remember what it was now. It was well over 60% anyway. Are in the US. Of the TikTok users. So, sorry, Khristina.
That's what I was about to say when you say that, because it's something that we don't utilize here in the UK and I, Stuart. And you and I are both in the UK and I, and we see this on a regular basis. I'm not going to lie. I got TikTok just so I could actually watch what my stepdaughter was doing. I just wanted to see what she was doing. I wanted to make sure she was safe. I wanted to see who she's following and who was following her. And then when I kind of felt that I just kind of got a little bit bored of scrolling, because I kind of at one stage just started opening up and it was just so much crap there from actually looking at her page, because she's a huge anime fan. I was like, I can't deal with this. So I just shut it down. And even like
she did that
Reels,
on purpose.
Oh, well, she actually keeps saying to me, did you see on TikTok I posted this? I'm like, no. But it is that younger generation that's using this, but they're posting strange things. And I don't think it's something that hoteliers here, especially in Ireland, are not going to adapt to 100% unless they have that new generation, like an 11-year-old girl powering it for them.
Only 7% of TikTok users are over 50.
Wow.
So, and to me, I'll be honest, that kind of surprised me, because I was expecting it to be more like 1%. So 7% was kind of high, I thought. But if you look at it on the bigger picture, obviously it's not. But when they bought TikTok out, their idea was, right, we're going to create a platform for between the ages of 10 and 29, and it's still kind of very much in that space. So if, as a hotelier, you're kind of especially if you're possibly more in the luxury end, but probably in general, is that target market, is TikTok that target market that you're after? Because also TikTok can be quite expensive to advertise on. So, is it really what you're after as a hotelier at the moment? And that's not to say that in the future it won't change, because they're all trying to compete with each other. They've switched places. So you've got, like I said, you've got TikTok doing the long form content. YouTube is now doing the short form content to keep up with TikTok. So, it's all going to change and it's all going to move about. But, we've only got an attention span on average now of 8 seconds for social. And, so TikTok kind of works really, really well. But YouTube, you look at in terms of usage, YouTube absolutely smashes it out of the water. TikTok is still only the 7th biggest platform. Yeah. So,
I think it's really interesting that you brought up the conversation about YouTube, because what is it that hotels can actually post on YouTube? Please, one of you guys who is a social media guru, please jump in, because is it just supposed to be used for, showcasing your property, or can you actually put up proper content like F&B setups, education and training, how a day in a life looks? What is it that you guys recommend to hotels to do to actually leverage the YouTube side?
I recommend hotels post videos that is going to be in line with the keywords that they're looking to use. So if they're looking for pet friendly, they should post a pet friendly video and use all those keywords and tags in that video so that they optimize in search. Of course, weddings, if they have big weddings, big events, they need to post that. Like even if it's just a picture of photos with great music and maybe a voiceover, they need to create that video and they need to post it. They have to get as much content out there as possible to drown out all the other hotels. And that's the sad part, is that a lot of hotels, they don't really know how to utilize YouTube. So a lot of them end up getting beat, not by the competition, but by the top 5 or the top 10 videos that's going to put them in a position where they're competing with the other top 5 hotels in the video. So it's crazy the way hotels aren't utilizing YouTube. On my channel, I get a lot of comments that saying, like, you know what, I wasn't going to book this hotel, but you sold me on this hotel. This was a great video for my review. So that's how bad it is. It's really that bad. When we first started the show, it wasn't designed for season 1, wasn't designed for guests, but guests couldn't find anything else about the hotel but our video. So that's all they had for that hotel. So can you imagine? And 74% of our traffic for hotels come from YouTube search. So people are looking for you and you have nothing out there to show them.
But that's the really big thing with YouTube, isn't it? YouTube is a conscious search.
Correct.
At the time. So whereas TikTok and everything else and Facebook and everything feeds you stuff, YouTube is more of a conscious choice of what you're actually doing. And I saw a stat a little while ago. We were putting a presentation together for something, and the stat said that people were 67% more likely to book if you had a video tour on YouTube. But that dropped dramatically if that video tour went over 2 minutes.
And it's all down to goldfish memory.
it's the 8-second memory. But I've seen quite a few, obviously, hotel tours on YouTube, and they can go on for 6, 7, and the attention span's not there. And as younger generations come through who are used to this short form content constantly, that's only going to drop. That the Gen Z, and then below that you've got Gen Alpha, I found out today, which I never knew, but that's the one after, and they're currently around 10 years old. So we've got a while to wait for them. But the Gen Z guys, that attention span's going to get lower and lower, because all they're being served constantly on all the different platforms is short form content. So that's why YouTube moving to this now.
Are you saying that you are using the social media and TikTok and YouTube
to actually drive traffic to your website. So it's kind of a SEO optimization via the content that you put out there, right?
So I didn't hear you broke up right in the middle of that. Sorry. No, I think it might have just been on my side. Everyone else.
No, it's me. I have some mic issue as well. I saw that Andrew and everyone is saying yeah. So I apologize to everyone. I was saying do you use the social media to actually drive traffic to your website? Kind of an SEO optimization with the content around to drive to your website, or do you use the channel itself to drive revenue and awareness within the content, within the channel itself? You see my question?
We do a little bit of both. The good thing about YouTube is that not only does your videos rank in YouTube, they rank in Google as well. So if you do a search of your video, there's like these little tabs at the top, and it has images, and then there's another tab that says video. So you will rank in Google for that video. I think about my external traffic, about 50% comes from Google itself, because the videos has started ranking in the top 5. The other side, of course, is the actual video to bring that traffic over to the website. People thinking, oh yeah, all these influencers are out here doing these reviews. Like, yeah, they're doing those reviews because they're sending the traffic straight to Booking.com, who's giving them a commission, or straight to Expedia, who's giving them a commission for making that video when sending the traffic to them. So you can put that information either in the video, or you could put that information in the description, so they can click the link to book at your website.
I think that's so important. Go on, Stuart. No, it's okay.
I was just going to say, it's one of the things with Drive Social is that you can really, really use it to drive direct. So again, we were putting a presentation together a little while ago, and we've got a strategy team based in Chicago, and they feed us a lot of really good information for this. And they were saying on average, people are spending 6 hours a day online. So that's just spread over apps, that's just spread over websites and everything else. But through social, you can really, really get a good idea of how to plan your digital strategy. So because they found out that 90% of people who follow a brand on social will visit their website directly. And then 86% of those people will actually make a purchase. Then 82% of those people will recommend them to a close family or friend who's probably likely to be roughly in the same demographic. So you really can't build your digital strategy off of what you're seeing in social. But the 6 hours a day thing is quite incredible. Yeah,
that is. I'm glad I have unlimited bandwidth on my phone.
I don't even want to look at my phone now after you saying that, to be sure, because I've got 2. So both of them would probably tell me you need to just stop. You need to wind your neck in and just stop. But I think what's really interesting is we're getting a lot of feedback here, especially about the attention span. I think one of the funniest ones was from Amisha, who said, is it me or the gen names and the variant names? Do they sound very much alike or too similar? So true. Absolutely so true. And the closer we're getting to the end, the worse the names we're getting, for sure. But let's go back to actually creating a meaningful strategy. What can hotels do right now to actually create a strategy? Because you must remember, a lot of people write these things down on paper. We look, we see, we analyze, we write it down, and then we bring it forward. So what is it hotels can do right now to take stock of their channels, be it good or crappy?
Well, the first thing I would do is definitely create a content calendar. That really saved me. I use Canva, and with Canva, you're allowed to resize and copy the posts and the videos, so you're able to post it across all platforms and link it together, and so you can see it comes with a free content calendar, so you can see what content is going out and where it's going. So I try to do that every week. It's even difficult for me because we got to do it like 12 o'clock at night or early in the morning because we're just so busy with the regular stuff. The other thing that I recommend people to do is, if you don't have the time, hire a professional. Like, that you don't know how to work out, you hire a trainer. Any of us would be more than willing to help you for $1 million a month. That's not a problem.
So you're dropping your prices, Bruce. You get a sale.
Wow, content marketing right there. Stuart, go on. What would you recommend? Because you obviously work with a very unique tool that can actually do a lot of things. So
yeah, absolutely. And funnily enough, I saw Julie Grieve on here earlier. So hi, Julie. And you mentioned about having a platform to monitor, and that is more important than ever. So again, we know that over 70% of people are expecting a reply to a question on social, or a question on a post, or a direct message, and they're expecting that reply between 1 and 2 hours. And if it's any more than that, then they kind of fall away from the brand. So one of the things we do is that we have a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week monitoring team of living human beings, empathy and emotion, intelligence, and, because that's hospitality. I'm not a big fan of bots and things like that. Hospitality is somebody coming back to you personally. And we've seen some really good results recently in the UK since we launched at the end of 2020, where, one example, one of our hotels, we put a post up about live music. Somebody put a comment on there to say, can anyone come in and watch this, or do you have to be a guest in the hotel? And one of our monitors is there, because we've got our own bespoke platform that drops in. And one of our monitors was there to read it, said, no, anyone's welcome in. We look forward to seeing you. And this person brought basically a coach load of people with them. And so revenue all of a sudden's come out of nowhere. The problem is that, do hotels always have someone there to answer these questions and to monitor? Because we've seen a 45% plus increase in direct messaging to hotels since things started opening back up again. People are using social media more and more and more because of the lockdown, and it's become a lot more habitual than it was before. So we've seen a rise in chatter, we've seen a rise in direct messaging, and it's really difficult to monitor this unless you've got like a BCV with somebody sitting there. It's very difficult to monitor this stuff, and especially when we open up internationally again from November, we can travel to the States hopefully, and vice versa. Different time zones, messages and points and questions and all this sort of stuff. It's all going to come in at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Is the person at 9 o'clock in the morning who starts their shift going to go back and look at this stuff? Probably not. So my tip would be really closely monitor the chatter and what's happening on your social as much as you can if you haven't got someone around the clock.
Yeah, I excuse me. I certainly agree. I think, you guys both made great points. And what it just leads me back to is, when you're ready to do it, take it seriously. There's nothing worse than starting up a page and, doing it, for a week or two, and then it just falls off. Or, to Stuart's point, people are sending messages and they're not getting responses. This is where the customer journey starts now. And again, to a point he made, that's even more prevalent now during the pandemic, because everybody was locked up and everyone was on their phones, so that's the power of being present on social media, is you're reaching a huge audience, because we're all on Instagram, we're all on all these channels all the time. But because of that, if you're not getting in the game, you need to be ready to handle that. So, to what Bruce said, if you're not equipped to do it at the property, be honest with yourself and get somebody that can do it for you. One of my main tips for a hotel starting out, particularly on Instagram, is that bio section is all searchable by Google. So what Thibault said before about, SEO and pushing to your website, you want to be able to be found. Pack that full of keywords. People don't realize that, so they'll name the account Best Western Texas, and then the name field, put that again. Those are two fields now that those are separate, right? So you can put Best Western Texas, that's the name of the account, but then Fancy Boutique Hotel near fishing area or something like that. But don't be repetitive, because you can actually use that to your advantage.
I agree. And remember to please put your booking link in there. Please put your booking link in there, so that if people are on your page and they really like you, they can click on that link, bring it over to your direct website, which should be all cool, bells, whistles, mobile optimized, please. And it costs you less on the booking. It's a no-brainer. That's one thing I kind of still find absolutely perplexing, is that when you go into a Facebook page belonging to a property and you see call now button, why doesn't it direct you directly to the hotel's website? Why do you have to call now? And I've seen some international brands do that. It directs you to the reservation hotline, but no one wants to go directly onto a reservation hotline and have the whole dial 1 for English, dial 2 for Espanol. The days of that are gone.
Right. Especially if you're attracting that guest on social media. I mean, as we've been talking about, depending on the channel, that's probably a younger customer, right? So if they're finding you on, Instagram, TikTok, they're not looking to talk to anybody. Okay. I don't even look to talk to anybody, and I'm way older than most of these people. And I like talking. And I still don't want to call and talk to anybody. If I can get the answer on my phone or just by clicking the button, I'm doing it. So 100% back that up.
I saw one of the comments we've got there about dealing with hate comments from Din, saying that we're getting a lot of hate comments, and what's the best way to handle the negative comments? Do you ignore, do you delete, or do you reply? You 110%. If it's within reason and a sensible hate comment, not someone just being an idiot, but a sensible general complaint, then you 100% reply and you engage. If you can delete, if it's Facebook, then fair enough. But as long as you engage that person, you escalate it away from Facebook, and then you deal with it offline, then 100%, because that's how you keep that relationship going, and that's how you keep that level of engagement with that guest. If you ignore, firstly, it will sit on there forever, and anyone else who comes onto your Facebook page will see it, and there you go, you've automatically turned somebody off. But you can always engage people, and you can, we again, negative comments is something we look after. We escalate to property, but we also engage that person straight away from the monitor's point of view, because then that person feels heard. And I think, that's what a lot of it is. It's people feeling heard.
I think there's also a point there where it's not just negative comments or, hate comments. There actually can be comments that comes from social media that are just completely unjust. So for instance, I had a situation last year where there was a special Facebook group, and there was all yummy mummies and all these mad people all involved in it. It was called the Wolf Pack or something like that. And they absolutely trashed one of the hotels I was working with online, because someone that was in their group put up a message in their group saying, I've had a really terrible time at this hotel. This is why. And it turns out it was completely false. Everything was completely falsely generated, because we actually went back on the CCTV. We ended up issuing a statement on our social media. We ended up issuing a statement on pretty much all channels that these people had been leaving comments. We had a lot of regular guests actually message us on a regular basis saying, did this really happen? I can't believe this. You guys are so family friendly, so family orientated. And we're like, this is not the truth. This is far from the truth. And we actually ended up having to do this to be able to A, protect the property, but B, protect the staff. And I think people actually forget that when you're leaving comments on social media, you also need to realize that it's not a computer sitting behind these. It's actual people who are reading these on a regular basis. And you may hurt them, or it actually may put someone else's job in jeopardy. And as Julie so rightly said, be honest. And if you have effed up, to use Julie's words, then give them a contact to speak to you. Get in contact with them directly. Take it offline and be able to fix it, because that is where, human contact, you can't do this constantly as well through social media, because that just gets worse. What people see in a text message or on social media can be completely misinterpreted in a different language or by a different person on that particular day while they're here. If they're having a bad day, well, then that can just span it even worse out of control, for sure. We are coming to the end of the show, because I know everyone is really, really busy today. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Julie, you have won a ticket to Leadership in Chaos, so congratulations. So has Laurie Lung, congratulations. And so has Amisha, so congratulations, guys. I will pop you messages with how to actually redeem your online tickets for Leadership in Chaos, which is coming up. So thank you so much to Ali Northfield and Revenue by Design and the Revenue Forum for giving us the prizes today. Thank you so much to Stuart Booth and the rest of the Rate Gain Company. We are so excited to be working with you in the future. So we can't wait to have you on show, a lot more Stuart and a lot more guitars. So we look forward to you maybe even taking one out one day, getting the intro going.
Yeah, he was supposed to play for us. He was going to play for us.
I know, I'm telling you. Well, if you actually are going to be at any of the future events that are happening across the UK, be it the Independent Show, the Hotel 360, WTM, Stuart will be there. He may not have a guitar. Get a plastic ukulele in a pound shop somewhere. I'm pretty certain he will do it. Thank you.
I can do that.
We got the Naked Cowboy Europe.
I'm sure someone at a WTM stand will be giving out something like that for free this year. Will they even be doing that, actually? I wonder. We'll have to see. Thank you so much. We will see everybody next week.